All right, and we are live. Hello and welcome to the Gaming Perspective Awards, which is totally original and definitely not borrowed from anything else. Hey, nearing the end of 2020, we can collectively sigh and say, thank God, because this is the longest year of century or dynasty that I've ever been alive for. And hopefully, magically, everything will Thanos snap into being better in 2021, because that's how the world works, or so I hope. But things are great. Everything's fine. There's definitely no driving narrative or anything going on in the industry right now that is at all cataclysmic or exploding or causing any forms of controversy that we need to talk about. So we'll definitely get right into the intros to kick this off. So, introducing from Windows Central, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey, how's everyone doing? It's good to be here, and we're going to get some stuff out of the way in the beginning, but after that, it's just going to be a celebration of games, I think. And I'm really looking forward to that after what a hell year this has been. So, yeah, let's get going.
Absolutely. And also joining me from Windows Central, the guide's maniac himself, Mr. Jared Eden.
Well, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in as always. And definitely some fun to have tonight with our Game Awards and whatnot. And yeah, let's get talking.
Absolutely. And the man, the myth, the legend himself from Florida, the land down under in the southern United States, from the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, Mr. Eric Jackson.
Yo, what's going on? Happy to be here. Just kind of thinking like Santa must have gotten like more to the list where people are like, can I get a physical copy of that game that is no longer available over here, please? It was like, between that and new consoles, I don't know what to tell you guys. You know,
yeah.
Santa has his limits. Let's be real.
Santa's sending out a list like, "Can I get a new console?" You know,
who do you think the scalpers are? That's the elves.
Santa's one of the guys tweeting Wario like when he's tweeting about other games, and he's like, "What about that PS5 though?" Exactly. Poor Wario, he can't tweet anything nowadays, man.
I saw him tweet out. My favorite tweet from Wario this week, shout out to that man, was the Shaq Fu for $4.99. PlayStation 4 case, $4.99. So good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, man. So, and I guess I'm Nicholas Downey. I'm from lordsofgaming.net. Don't follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. Yay. So obviously we got to get the colossal bug-riddled elephant out of the room. Bugsnax released with less bugs than Cyberpunk did in the year 2020. Praises be Bugsnax. That is... No, so basically, I don't know. I try and make light of this because this is really serious and shitty.
This is news. Yeah, just get it over with.
Well, nobody's talking about Bugsnax anymore. Just saying.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But as we're about to see, talking about something isn't necessarily a good thing either.
If you had told me in early 2020 that Bugsnax would have a higher Metacritic than Cyberpunk 2077, I'd be like, I want what you're smoking. But now I need something to smoke to make up for the disappointment that is Cyberpunk 2077. So, as everyone knows, unless you've been living under a rock, in which case move over because I want to move there too. CD Projekt Red has been under fire all week. They did some miscommunication. They did some shady stuff. We talked about it on the last episode. And then they were like, everyone can have refunds. And then Microsoft and Sony responded with, the fuck? And then CD Projekt Red said, yeah, totally, it's fine. Some retailers did end up issuing refunds. PlayStation was like, yeah, you can totally get a refund for Cyberpunk 2077 with the caveat that we are removing the game from the PlayStation Store. This marks the first time a game has been pulled from a storefront since Arkham Origins on Steam when that released back in
Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight.
I thought it was Arkham Origins that was broken on PC.
It was Arkham Knight. Origins wasn't good in terms of performance, but Knight was broken. So it was Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight. So that would have been 2015 because I know Arkham Knight was 2015. So I think 2015. Mm-hmm. Whatever. It's been like 5 years since this has happened. This is the first time that I could find in the console space that a AAA game had been pulling it off the storefront. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Just a general go around. What do you guys think about a buggy, broken game being pulled off of a storefront? There's tons of games that I look back on and went, man, I wish I could have got a refund, or I wish there was a way I could make people not buy this in the state it's in. But PlayStation really came through, and it really comes across as more of a power move of going, no, screw you. You want to throw us out to lunch with the refunds? Well, we're just going to pull your game. And especially with CD Projekt Red hiding some of the performance issues that were on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game. Anybody want to?
Yeah, I'll jump in there first. And if I could, mention like the discussion that you guys had on Crossfire, like listening to, Optimus Code kind of explaining like some of the certification process part of it and why like some of that may have happened. Because my first initial reaction when I saw that, I said, they must have gotten hit with so many like requests that they said, like before moving forward, they had to kind of walk back and kind of look out for their consumer. And I know that became like a bubble conversation of it was anti-consumer to pull it down. But what, what's kind of worse? Like you're issuing refunds. Do you keep something up there that people may keep jumping on and grabbing, maybe not realizing, and then you're getting more refund requests? So maybe for the time being, you pull it just till you can get ahead of what you're doing, figure out your next move, and then go from there. I don't think it'll be gone completely, but it's one of those things that's sort of like, we need to stop the bleeding for a moment. So my thought process was they got hit with so many requests, and it goes, and their policy is, sorry, kind of drawing a blank there. Their policy is sort of like, it's one of those things of, they'll give you a refund in certain cases, because I have gotten a refund from them before, and it's sort of like one of those, hey, we'll do this time, but it's not usually the policy, which they kind of need to work on. But at the same time, it's sort of, you have to look out for a consumer. Like people were kind of like duped. It's not like there was a beta for this thing. It's not like there was like some fair warning, there was some heads up or opportunities or whatever. It is what it is. So I'm kind of thinking that they just got hit. And then with the certification process thing, it's like they're probably investigating and figuring some things out. So you can't kind of leave it up there for now.
Yeah.
You have unaware people still grabbing it.
Mm-hmm.
I shared some thoughts on the game last week and how I was disappointed in CD Projekt Red. So I'll just say very quickly, I think a lot of what you said is accurate, Eric. I did find out from a tester who shall remain unnamed, but someone I trust, that basically there is no way this game passed QA. They got a provisional,
right?
It's passing, but you have to have this fixed. Like that's what it was. It was a Microsoft and Sony allowed this because of how big the game was, and they were assured it would be fixed by launch. That's what it is. Like this game didn't pass QA. There's no way. It just legitimately didn't. The kind of thing that Liana Rupert reported for Game Informer about how the flashes would trigger epilepsy, like that kind of thing gets picked up. That kind of thing gets detected. So that's one thing. The other thing, something that Patrick Klepek from, I believe, Waypoint pointed out, was that basically because of Sony's loose definition of a refund policy, this is why they're pulling the game, but Microsoft isn't, even though they're both getting slammed with refunds. I don't want to get into the legal jargon of it, but the nutshell version is, due to how Sony's is worded, they were leaving themselves open to class action if they kept the game up. It's not their fault. They were put in that position by CD Projekt Red. Like they're the ones who published the game, but at the end of the day, it was leaving them open to a big class action lawsuit. So that's why, like you said, staunching the bleeding, it actually goes even further than that. They had to just shut it down or they were going to be in trouble. So it's a disaster. It's a mess. I feel for the developers who are now having to crunch on this game even further, no doubt. I think upper management needs to get cleaned out, and they need to figure some things out, and they need to reorganize and restructure so they can be better in the future, and they have a lot of the things to address. And that's what I'll say for now.
Yeah.
If I could say, I'm sorry, if I could say one other thing,
Yeah,
Jared, because it sounds like they put the the other thing that you kind of look at is, I know they just put the hot fix out, but you guys know when you're up against the wall and you got all these little pieces going and you're scrambling and I'm sure this is going to affect people's holiday and everything else, you can have more errors because you're rushing to try to do something.
Yep.
And I've seen a couple people are reporting on the PlayStation side again, like the hot fix is coming out and it's still breaking like people's game.
Mhm.
In some cases worse than what it was before. And that's another. You don't want to put that on top of everything else. That's just like, man, you know, like you just said, that is a bad position to put people in. Talk about stress and craziness.
Yeah.
So sorry, Jared.
Oh no, it's fine. Like honestly, you guys pretty much covered all my thoughts as well on the game. Like upper management needs to give their head a shake, and there needs to be some clearing out and some wrists slapped, or even worse, because this is unreasonable. Honestly, they should not have promised the game to launch so early on in the year as well, considering how it is currently in this state after being delayed 3 times, and it's still this type of mess. I can't imagine what it would have been like if they kept with their original plan. And I feel that original plan was more of a cocky, we made Witcher 3. We're making Cyberpunk 2077. We know it's going to be the next big thing, so we're just going to put it out no matter what. And ha ha ha, we're just going to make all this money because we're awesome. And, well, yeah, you guys made the fastest selling DC game, that's for sure. But you also made a bug-riddled mess, so you forsake your studio reputation for cash. And that's not good, because in this industry, yeah, cash is nice, but if you don't have people buying your game, you're not going to make that cash. You need that reputation and that trust in your fan base for people to buy your game. So you're kind of screwing that up in a big, big, big way. Yeah, it's just... I'm enjoying my time, but again, it's something where it definitely should not have been even promised such to be launched earlier on in the year or at such an early date. It should have been like, hey, yeah, we'll stick with the motto of it'll be ready when it's ready sort of thing. And maybe push it up to summer 2021 and put some more time into it. Because I still like... I don't know about you guys, but there's some visual graphical things that really, really irk me, because like the whole one big thing for me is the traffic in the game. It bugs the crap out of me because it randomly pops in, and lots of roads will either be busy or they're not busy. And not just that, but I'll be randomly in the distance. You'll see like the visual of vehicles coming down, driving down a road, lights on, or cars off the distance and whatnot. But there's multiple times where it's like it's coming down in a ravine in the middle of a hill in the mountains. It's not even a road. It's just like a dirt thing. And there's why is that happening, sort of thing. That should not even be in the game. That should not be an issue. And like Sam said, and Eric, the QA thing, yeah, they failed on the QA. It's just... Let's move on. I can go on and on and on and repeat what these guys said, but it's a mess.
Yeah. And honestly, my closing thoughts are 2 things. Fire Badowski. Either that, wrap him up in duct tape, lock his phone, and keep him the fuck away from talking to anybody right now. Because this man has literally buried this entire studio with what he's said, being combative with Jason Schreier. This doesn't happen. And then, oh, it does happen. Oh, that's weird. And then all these things coming out. And, him liking people disagreeing with, Cyberpunk being pulled off the store, even though CD Projekt Red publicly on a public statement said, yes, we acknowledge PlayStation's pulling us off the store. This is something that we agreed upon, blah, 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 blah. It's a mess, but it is fixable. But the one thing I want to say, to just completely package wrap this, is we have seen 3 AAA games launch in the past month that have been front to back broken on arrival. And it's mind blowing to me that people are still trying to defend it with any means possible. Stop. Call of Duty freaking Cold War breaks more with every patch that Activision throws into that damn thing. I have never... Call of Duty is 25% off. I can buy it for $53 Canadian on Xbox right now. Call of Duty Cold War. That has never happened with a Call of Duty game in launch frame. Never in the holidays have I been able to get 25% off a Call of Duty game. They're like, hey, you want to buy Call of Duty? It's 5% off. I'm like, oh, cool, save $2. But the thing is like that game released broken. It's still broken. It's still breaking. Watch Dogs Legion, Ubisoft released that, and on current gen consoles, it worked. It worked great for the most part. But next generation consoles, the saves are broken. And what did Ubisoft say? Oh, we'll patch it eventually. Eventually. They're like, yeah, we'll have a patch rolling out next month. I sold the game. I was like, if you don't think it's worth your time to fix it, it's not worth my time to play your game and lose hours of progress. Watch Dogs Legion, Call of Duty Cold War, and now Cyberpunk. Stop releasing broken games. I hope every AAA developer looks at how this is rolling out and learns from this. Because I'm sick of paying $79.99 for games that don't work front to back when there's developers that put out $40 games that work front to back. I don't care what the scale is on your game, anything else. Play it properly, release it properly. If you need to patch out, I would not even care if Cyberpunk, Jackie did a little stanky leg every now and then, or like the animation glitched out, or, Johnny's hand goes through his head occasionally. In the scale of the game, I wouldn't mind that. But there's just some rudimentary parts of this game that are broken. And even though I'm enjoying it, I would never recommend anyone to spend their money on it. And that's problematic.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I'm done.
No, I was gonna say that's why I kind of put that tweet out the other day, because one thing I'm so tired of people doing, and I've seen it. It's not new. We've seen it for years. When people are vocal about something that's annoying them in a game, because we play games for quality of life reasons, right? And like you said, there's the occasional goofball thing, and a few weeks ago when I put the one out about the charm thing, you can live with certain things happening in the game, and it's called the charm of it, right? And that's what Bethesda, that used to be the meme or the joke, right? The charm. But at the end of the day, the game didn't lose your save. It didn't do, later after it was fixed. Yeah. Obviously in the beginning, things happened. But, again, I've shared, playing The Witcher 3, like Roche kind of breakdancing in the background. I'm like, and I'm like laughing. Like, Roche is doing his thing over there, or her thing. She's kind of whatever. But the excuses gamers keep making are just annoying as hell. It's like you have this defeatist, mentality about, well, all games have bugs. Well, but the thing is, the matter is, if you go buy a car, and like every time you tap the brakes, the car shuts off. You're going to have words. It doesn't matter how much you love the maker or how much you love this particular brand of car. You're going to go back to the lot and raise some hell. But for some reason in games, because we like a developer or we like a console manufacturer, whatever the case may be, it's like we're willing to look past so much of what they do, except for the one that we don't like, and then we want to go in on them. But then it's always, well, all games have bugs and this happens. It's like, oh yeah, games have issues and patches are great. And I will guarantee game developers of yesteryear would have loved the opportunity to have an online world to where they could have stabilized their game or fix something. There's always going to be something that gets through and gets out the door. But in some of these other cases, we shouldn't be accepting when games are fundamentally just broken. Like when people are reporting that they're losing hours of saves in Ubisoft games. There should be no excuses behind that. Yeah. You gave them money for a product. They should not still be developing a game after it's out. Patching it, stability, something that will help your quality of life. Hey, we're going to add this to it because it's going to fundamentally help this part of the game. Fine. But saying we're going to put it out and we're still developing the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's BS.
Yeah. No. And as we wrap into our Game Awards, what I will say is stop believing gaming PR when they say, oh, we could have launched it at the original date. We just wanted to polish it. You remember when they delayed Days Gone for a year because they're like, it's perfect, but we want to make it a little bit more perfect. Mm-hmm. And it was 14 FPS on PlayStation 4. And they were like, oh, it's really optimized for the Pro, though. This is the same thing with CDs. They were like, oh, we released it back then. I'm like, yeah, sure. Jackie wouldn't have had a face. And I would be T-posing everywhere. Oh, wait, I'm still doing that. T-posing's great. I'm sorry. I still love
T-posing.
No, my favorite glitch that ever happened in Cyberpunk that I will share is I got into a car. I had to go assassinate this guy. Super serious mission. I'm like really in the role playing aspects. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this dude. And I get out of the car. I pull out my shotgun. I start wasting everyone away. I open up my inventory. I'm butt naked for no reason at all. I'm like, I just rolled up on a gang hideout butt naked with a shotgun. I was like, yeah. Like that was a thing that happened in Cyberpunk, like not game breaking or anything, but like your clothes come off randomly. I fell off my car. I mean, like it treated me like I was on a motorcycle and it hit something and then I fell off. But I like fell into the passenger seat and then like slid along the ground a bit and then got up and I was like, never had that happen in my braked in a car. But yeah, it's broken. Don't buy it.
Well, and here's the thing too. It's like, you know, the deception angle I think is really what's hitting like CD Projekt Red. And you know, when I put my tweet out the other day, people were saying, "Well, this isn't the first time we've seen this. We've seen this with other developers." I'm like, 100%, and we've made excuses 100% up to this point, and shame on us for doing it. You know, let's walk it back. We've talked about this before. When Ubisoft pushed their embargo 2 hours after the game released, because they knew how bad and broken Unity was. That should have been our first red flag as game. I mean, well, one of our first major in the new generation to say, no, we're not accepting this. But because we like Ubi and we liked Assassin's Creed, you know, we kind of say, hey, you know, it is what it is. And all games are buggy. But that should have been the one where we started saying, no, this isn't acceptable. You know, because that was cagey. That was very suspect to have your embargo hours after the game was already in people's hands. That should have been a tremendous, you know, we're going to band together as gamers and say, no, you're not doing this. And that maybe that sets the tone to where we don't have CD Projekt Red doing this. Yeah. You know, but we've gotten to a point where developers feel that they can do this.
Well, because we got to move on, but you know, I remember like a lot of games used to be like a vote of confidence if your embargo was like weeks before your launch, where you were like, put your review out a week before the game launches.
Right.
Fuck around, see what happens. You know, but now it's like there's game reviews I've gotten codes for, and they're like, yeah, review embargo is 11:59 p.m. on Monday. And I'm like, but the game launches at midnight on the Tuesday. And you just kind of sit there and you're like, as a reviewer, you just go, yeah, okay, that's what you want. So, because at the end of the day, if you don't cover the game, there's going to be 98 other sites that do cover the game. So it puts reviewers and industry folks in a really bad position. And I really wish people would stop generating the hate. Oh, the media lied to us about it. No, the media was manipulated to show the story from a specific angle. Yes. If you ever want, I recommend Jeff Grubb did a fantastic piece on this. Go read that, and then never ever bitch out a reviewer again, because it's one of the most stressful, besides maybe guides writing, reviewing video games is one of the most stressful aspects of the industry, because the developer will be like, hey, here's our 40-hour game 2 days before embargo. You could totally beat this and give us a great review, right? And you're like, yeah, sure. I don't need
to. We could try.
So,
might cry a little bit and, you know, throw a temper tantrum every now and then and have an anxiety attack and a mental breakdown, but we try.
That's called the creative process, Jared. Get with the program.
Okay, my bad.
Only good art is through pain. I don't know who said that, but they were a terrible person. So we've got a bunch of categories. I didn't list them publicly because I want these guys to give me answers. Totally forgot to tell these guys to send me their answers so I could do an intro promptu with them. So this shit's going to be wild, and I'm here for it. So the first category of the Gaming Perspective Awards was Esports Player of the Year, which is unanimously voted as nobody, because none of us pay attention to esports. Esports is a very important part of the video game industry. I am just not a hyper 20-year-old anymore. I am old. I am bitter. I do not have time. Shout out to people. 27.
I was just going to nominate somebody I was going to nominate Blessing out of Yo-Yo Jr. just because.
Yeah.
Why not?
You know what? I'll carry that. Sure.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tag him on it on Twitter. I'll be like, hey, Blessing, you were nominated as Esports Player of the Year. He'll roll with it.
Yep.
He'll be like, damn right I'm good at Fall Guys. He'll use it to dunk on Greg Miller somehow. So, like,
Right.
Win-win.
win-win. So, starting out with our best developer / publisher of 2020, not of all time, because if it was all time, it'd be a very long conversation. So how this is going to work, we're going to list a category. This isn't a voting thing because I don't have time to argue why I'm right and these guys are wrong all the time. So what these guys are going to do is they're going to state their personal picks and a description of why that these are their picks and everything else. If anyone mentions CD Projekt Red in this category, you will be booted from the show. you will T-pose right out the door right now. So how this is going to work is I'm going to work in a right to left formation, which is shown on my screen. So it's going to be Jared, Eric, and Sam, and that's how we're going to progress through. And I will go last on every category. That way, if we're running too long on some categories, I can keep it short. And if people give me too much time, I will run with it. So keep that in mind while describing your favorite things. All right, so Jared, you're up to bat first.
Okay, this is gonna be probably. Okay, even after all the issues this publisher and studios have been having, I have to give respect to the 3 titles that they put out on the span of only a few months, and they're actually pretty high quality and whatnot. But I have to give it to Ubisoft.
Okay,
That's my pick. I played Watch Dogs Legions and then to Valhalla and then Immortals Phoenix Rising afterwards. And honestly, they've been consistently really good and solid titles. And even though they have been all those allegations and stuff like that and stuff going against them, I have to respect all the other developers that work there as well and be like, hey, you know what? These games are actually pretty damn good. And you guys did a good job, especially for putting them 3 in the time of a month and a half, 2 months. Like, god damn, good job. So, yeah.
Fair, dude. That's fair. They putting out, especially in 2020, with how the pandemic's been, putting out 3 big games like that is no easy task. So that's fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and shout out to Ubisoft for Immortal Phoenix Rising, which is on sale for $50 on the Xbox store, and I totally am not buying it after this show.
Good.
I'm looking forward to playing that game. I'm in that holding pattern of like I'm not buying anything because I want fast loading. I want the new everything.
Eric's like, if I buy a new game and play it on any of my original hardware, it's like slapping spinners on a Honda Civic.
Yeah, man. You guys can handle this backlog stuff, but yeah, these new games, and I'm pretty sure my X and my Pro can handle Immortal Phoenix Rising, but I'm like, no, it's just the whole principle of it.
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch handles Immortal Phoenix Rising, so I think your PS4 Pro and Xbox One X will be perfectly okay. But Eric, what's your developer of the year this year?
For a lot of the same reasons Jared put Ubi in there, which was a good pick, I'm going to go with Insomniac.
Okay.
Because they basically put Sony on their back, going into the next gen. They're like, we got it, man. We can drop some dimes for you right now. So I don't have a whole lot to expand upon on that because I haven't touched Miles or anything like that yet. But just how they're putting out these titles and their quality, and they're not having issues and bugs and all that fun. Well, there are some bugs in Miles I've seen, and that can fall under the charm category if you wanted to, I guess. But yeah, they've I think they were a solid pickup, as far as putting a ring on it for Sony.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't deny what they've done with Spider-Man. And honestly, like you said, the charm of Spider-Man Miles Morales, I ain't going to lie. I laughed like a fiend when Miles T-posed into a brick and then started web swinging as a brick. I was like,
yeah, that's like the best
brick.
glitch ever.
I still need someone to do a Simpsons crossover and somehow make you transmorph into Spider-Pig. I need that to be a thing. Insomniac, you've literally done everything else. Just do that one thing for me. Sam, who's your favorite developer and publisher this year?
Yeah, so mine's going to be a little weird because it's one from a game that I've only played a small bit, actually. Well, that's not fair. It's a small bit by comparison to a bunch of other developers. And I want to be clear, this is my favorite developer in terms of the work they've done overall, not like my favorite game. Just want to be very clear about that. There's a very specific reason I'm going for this, but it's actually Raven Software. Raven did the campaign for Black Ops Cold War, which is the best part of that game. I gave it like a 7 out of 10. It's mixed overall, but the campaign is very good. It's the first time they've gotten to do a Call of Duty campaign, I think, ever. I'm pretty sure ever. This is the first time. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, what a lot of people don't know is they're the ones who have been updating Warzone. That's not Infinity Ward. That's Raven, who have been doing all the new seasons for Warzone and all the updates and all this and that. And there have been some issues, but by far and large, Warzone is the Battle Royale I've played the most this year. And I think doing that while also shipping the best campaign and, frankly, outmatching Treyarch and doing a much better job than Treyarch, because the multiplayer for Cold War is a complete disaster. No easy task. So I will say Raven, actually.
Huh. This man making me hover over the buy the Cold War game because I just want to play a Raven campaign again because they're so freaking brilliant, and I hate the fact that Activision's like, hey, we're gonna buy you, and you could be a support team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Yeah, great pick. I really love the nuance to it. Now to throw all nuance out the window. id Software, baby, 2020.
Fair.
Okay, you know what? We live in a world of post CD Projekt Red where they're like, we can't get the game to run on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And then the Chads at id Software were like, hey, we're not only going to get Doom Eternal onto your old hardware, it's going to run at 60 FPS. You need to experience Doom like this. You got 60 FPS out of the VCR Xbox One. They are wizards. id Tech, their engine is godlike. Yes. I am so excited at the prospect of what they're going to do next, just because of what they did with the DLC. Because not only did they release Doom Eternal, they released a story DLC, which basically bent you over and was like, oh, so you like Doom, huh? Oh, you guys didn't like the Marauder. Okay, add 4 more Marauders.
Copy paste.
Oh, hey, you know what we should do? You know what we didn't do in the campaign? We didn't do a buff totem with a Marauder. We should totally do that with the DLC. But no, fantastic studio, front to back. They released a game. It worked front to back. No issues, no bugs. I've got 40 hours of replaying that game front to back, going for collectibles, doing small things, everything else. And I've never had the game crash. It's bug-free. It's fun. The music I can't describe what the music does to me because this show's somewhat PG-13 sometimes. It rips. And it's fantastic. And id Software has never let me down. In terms of what they've produced, unless we talk about Doom 3. But if I say Doom 3 5 times, the developer Dusk shows up in the chat and talks about the shotgun, and I just don't want that to happen. So we're going to move right along. So this category is, once again, because this show is all about nuance, because all of us are very nuanced people, aside from me. Is the best underdog game category. This is a game, not necessarily that all of a sudden got critical success, but this is a game that you were like, I don't really give a shit about this game. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is my favorite game this year. What the hell? How'd this happen? So, Jared, kick us off. Underdog.
Oh my goodness. This was not an easy one. I have to remember if it actually came out this year or not. I'm pretty sure yes, it did come out this year. Okay. A lot has happened this year, so I have to double check sometimes when it came out.
I get it, man.
So my pick is Journey to the Savage Planet. That is a game I loved. I was like, it's kind of interesting, seems kind of funny. The trailer sold me because I had a lot of humor in it. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is like a kind of wacky game. Started playing it. I'm like, wow, okay, this is really fun. Almost ended up 100% in the game, and yeah, it's a blast. I definitely recommend if you have a chance to spare maybe 20 hours, it'd be a perfect game for you.
Nice.
Awesome, man.
Holy crap, I forgot that came out this year.
That's why I did double check. I'm like, what?
Just whatever you do, don't stream it. Eric, what's your pick for the? Oh, don't worry. That moment's coming up in a later section of this conversation.
Okay.
Eric, what's your underdog game of the year?
Okay, so for underdog game of the year, and again, when I ask, does it have to be a game that came out this year? It could just be a game that we played this year.
It could be a game you played this year. I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to throw Shadow Warrior in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the amount of rare achievements that were popping, people need to get out there and play this game. So it was don't ask me. I've had it in my backlog forever. I have it both on Xbox and PS4. And one day I was just kind of sitting here like, I just want something to play that's not going to really tax me too much or whatever. I think I just came off of, I don't know, some long game. I can't remember which one it was, but it was just one I was like, okay, I need something to kind of like cleanse the palate. And that game did it, man. It was just, you just go for it. It's like, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It feels a little bit dated in some of the control and some of the graphics and stuff like that, but that notwithstanding, it's just fun, goofy. It has like that aspect of like Doom where you're just like ripping shit and slicing shit with a katana and then shooting it in the face, and it's got the worst jokes. It's just corny, but a lot of fun. So yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, that's a really good title, honestly. I really like Shadow Warrior itself. And when you go to Shadow Warrior 2 eventually, you'll see a nice step up in the whole aging thing.
Right.
And I'm also looking really forward to Shadow Warrior 3. It's gonna be fun. I love the jokes in it. They're just so corny and like, really, you typed that?
Yeah. Like the fortune cookies and everything are just like hilarious. And actually, that's actually what made me jog my memory and going and saying, you know what, I'm going to jump back on Shadow Warrior. And that was seeing Shadow Warrior 3 announced.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, at some point I'm definitely going to play Shadow Warrior 2 as well.
Sweet.
Nice. Oh, such a great game. Yeah, you're right. The humor. No one, if you do not enjoy things, do not go play that game. Please let that game live on in all its glory. Sam.
Yeah, so my underdog of the year is actually Astro's Playroom. I freely admit I'm one of the people that completely wrote it off pre-launch. I was like, okay, it's fine. It's a pack-in. It's whatever. It's fine. Whatever. And I ended up getting the platinum very quickly within my first few days of picking up a PS5. Please do not let the fact it is a pack-in dissuade you from diving in. Like, yes, it is explicitly designed to demo the DualSense. No other game will ever use the DualSense like Astro's Playroom does. I get that. I understand that. But that's kind of part of the charm. The fact that every single level you're thrown to this, whoa, I can feel myself skating on the ice, or whoa, I can feel the tension in the triggers as I have to very carefully climb up this rock wall. It constantly throws so many charming, little puzzles at you and simple stuff. It's very difficult. It's impossible to fail. Or, well, you can die, but you instantly respawn, so it's fine. It's whatever. Yeah. And there's so many different things that are just callbacks to classic PlayStation, games and PlayStation franchises. Like, I started taking a picture every time I saw one, and I had to stop because I was just running out of space. I'm not even kidding you, due to how many pictures I was taking. It's just like, yeah, I can't. This is actually ridiculous in a good way. It's a charming little game. It would never be game of the year or anything like that, but it's to platinum, it's a good 4 hours if you want to do everything it has to offer. It's very fun. And again, like, it demos the DualSense like no other game ever will. So please, when you get a PS5, don't neglect that, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that one. I've heard like so many people like, I think, have that same thing that you said, Sam. Like, I even remember saying it too, like, oh, that's going to get deleted. Yeah. But then I've heard people like seeing or watching people like, no, this game, this is pretty dope. Want to see more of this. So, yeah, that's cool, man. Looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, it's actually weird because it's like one of the games that I'm like most itching to like try out on PS5 because I'm like, want to see all the DualSense stuff, and it's all in one game, so I can experience everything it can do in one game. And like Sam said, packing games we write off sometimes, but man, I will fist fight anybody. Wii Sports was lit. Okay, you cannot.
I don't think that's contended. I don't think anyone is going to disagree with you on that.
No, Wii Sports was amazing. Astro's Playroom. Astro is this weird, family-friendly character that PlayStation kind of just fell into, and I love the fact that they're showcasing new tech with him. They showed off PSVR with him with Astrobot Rescue Mission. Now they're showcasing him with Playroom, and I definitely believe the next Astro-related game we get will be showcasing the PSVR 2 easily.
Absolutely.
Front to back. And just, it plays into that thing. I bitched for years and years this generation of, I wish PlayStation would do some cutesy stuff. I love Concrete Genie and stuff like that. And they've seemed to have really found that balance with PS5. And now I can't find a PS5, and it's frustrating as hell. But yeah, great pick, Sam. My pick is really weird for me. I'm, FPS shooty McBang Bang all the time. But Tell Me Why is my underdog game of the year, because literally what happened with that game was I was literally working on a review for something, and Jared DM'd me and was like, hey, I got this code. Can you cover Tell Me Why? And I was like, these are the dudes that do Life is Strange. I don't want to do this.
You could have said no.
And Jared's like, I just don't have time. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it. I'm going to hate every second of it. I even told him, I'm like, this is not going to get a good review from me. And that game emotionally wrecked me. Just absolutely tore through me in ways that I didn't think possible. And it changed my perspective on real life stuff. You ever have those moments where you learn something or understand something from a different perspective that you didn't see previously? I had that with this game, and I literally had to put down the controller after finishing. I think it was the second episode. I just kind of went, whoa. It was the first game where every time I finished an episode, it wasn't just like a cliffhanger. It was like an emotional drop off a cliff, and you're just like, whew. Okay, I need a minute. And it was just brilliantly well done. The dialogue was the developers just did such an excellent job of making people. People are flawed. People have issues. People sometimes have their best intentions, but sometimes your best intentions aren't the right intentions. And it was just so properly well done in that game. I couldn't put it down. And I just really think more people need to give it a shot. Forget Life is Strange. I know it's hella lit, but just go on to Tell Me Why. Or play Before the Storm. That's really great because Chloe is a 10 out of 10.
Just a fun fact, dude. Tell Me Why was my second pick after Astro's Playroom for Best Surprise or whatever. It's a good game. If you haven't played Tell Me Why, you're doing yourself a disservice. That people are complex and don't. Sorry, what was that, Eric?
No, I'm saying I have to get back to it. I played the first episode. I gotta get back to it. Yep.
It don't not understands that people are complicated, and sometimes there's nothing you can do about that, and it hurts. But
indeed,
yeah, no, it's fantastic, and I really have an appreciation for them, and they'll definitely be one of those studios where I just sit there and go, yeah, I'm going to play your next game no matter what. Day one buy, no problem. It just came out of nowhere and just hit different. Now, for our favorite gaming moment, and this is industry related, so this is the fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So, shit, I'm going last. This is going to be even better. I knew I planned this well. Jared, what was your favorite industry-related moment this year?
So it's not a spicy take or anything like that. It's just kind of yay, hooray! It's the next gen launch, basically. When considering I built my PC before the next generation launch and whatnot, and I got on the whole loading speeds, fast loading speeds, way before everybody else, and that got me really excited knowing that these console players who have been stuck on HDD hard drives for such a long time are now going to experience like this next step in storage capacity and speeds, and it's incredible because it's such a massive difference. And now that you guys have experienced it, I know you guys have probably, well, basically everybody's been like, holy crap, this is a game changer. Yeah, I felt the same way when I got those speeds too, and it got me really excited to see everybody else start experience that and get those same feelings as well. And it was wonderful. I like that. That was neat to see. So it made me happy.
Good.
Well,
Yeah, that's fair, man. That's wholesome.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I love the heartwarming moments because it makes me realize that I am way shittier than everyone else. Eric! Eric, what's your pick for the industry moment? I know you were kind of waffling on this one, but has anything hit you or?
Trying to think here. Let me think. If you allow me a second. Yeah, I would kind of say around some of the points of some of the bigger titles hitting. And I'm trying to think. There was one in particular, and I'm sorry, I'm just drawing a blank, guys. I have bad brain today.
It's okay.
Trying to think of the game, but maybe you guys can help me out. But it was the one point where people put down their guns and were actually just kind of like rocking out.
I'm trying to think what game it could have been.
Yeah.
Was it around like console launch? Because like console
Yeah.
launch was like the general stand down point.
Or maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just everything kind of hitting at that point. It seemed like for a bit, you know, it was like mad cool. And I was legit, like, I'm going to co-op some of what Jared was saying. Like, I was like legit happy for like friends and everything getting their consoles and opening them and, you know, just being excited for, you know, a moment, you know. And it seemed like, yeah, everybody was kind of chilled. And if I had to pick a favorite in this weird year, that was probably one of them. Because outside of that, nothing really like stands out as like a favorite industry moment.
Mhm.
You know, I guess I could say you guys surviving the summer game mess.
The summer that never ended.
Yeah,
It's still going.
yeah. So that was about it.
That's wholesome.
That's what I'll pick on.
similarly wholesome.
I'm seriously dialing my pick back unless Sam brings some toxic energy because we're all like hugging and shit at this point. I love it.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll bring us back down to reality.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Sam, what's your pick?
Okay, so I just want to stand by and say what Jared and Eric said is infinitely more wholesome than I'm about to say. But in a maniacal, we're shaking things up way. I look at the industry, you know, as a journalist, as someone who's having to cover it every single day. No holiday. Thank you, CDPR. Can't relax. Do to you. Because of how it has shaken up the industry, Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax. No one saw it coming. Every single one of the self-proclaimed insiders. None of them had a word to say. You could have heard a pin drop. It seemed like no one would shut up about it for a month, and for very good reason. We've never seen anything like it before, and it signals a big change moving ahead, and it signals if no one believed that, you know, Xbox was actually committed to gaming before, they definitely do now. And I think it's going to be crazy to see what happens as a result of this going into late 2021, 2022. Like, things are changing. The board is set. Pieces are moving.
And that's a good pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Absolutely. Lots to look forward to now, honestly. Lots.
Yeah. Damn, Sam really took the sales right out of me. All right, I'll go with this. Something that's been amusing for me to watch is with the Game Awards. Everyone has always blasted, made fun of, and pointed and laughed at Jeff Keighley because inevitably something cringy, terrible, or anything happens at the Game Awards. But in a pandemic, Jeff Keighley pulled off the best Game Awards we have ever seen from this man. Like nothing happened. Like there's nothing going on in the world. This man just did his work, got it done, and did it in a really incredibly professional, compact, and delivered it in an amazing way. Meanwhile, Xbox and PlayStation could not put left foot in front of right foot to even get a stream to go off without them having to backpedal 98 different times. So my favorite industry moment was backpedaling. Demon Souls. It's coming to another console. No, it's not. That's a wrong slide. Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back. Halo Infinite's coming out. Oh, wait. No, it's not. Oh, wait. Yes, it is. Well, people like it. Nope. People don't like it. Okay. Backpedaling. 2020 was the year of backpedaling and sweaty Randy Pitchfords. That's what this year has been.
You're not wrong. It sucks. You're not wrong.
And I'll put this as a little additional add-on. It's been amazing to watch people that I've followed for a long time really come into it this year. So I'll put that as an industry side note, watching people like Jared and Sam, start writing professionally at Windows Central over this past year, and a little bit more for Sam beyond that. Seeing people like Leon and Rupert really blow up this year, seeing Jeff Grubb, who's been doing this for a long time, blow up in a big way. It's been really, really cool to see people that I've known for a long time find their footing and do the amazing things that I always knew that these people were going to do. And it's great because I always felt like games media was this really old guard mentality, and to see a bunch of fresh faces doing the same work and really good and important work at the same time is what makes the industry so cool, is that it's always changing and there's always new faces in it. So that's my favorite industry take in the wholesome department, other than backpedaling. Backpedaling's still my favorite, though. Now, before the wholesome meter hits a whole dive off a cliff, we have to go favorite gaming moment in a game. I unfortunately removed anything CD Projekt Red, so a certain romantic option with Pan Am is unfortunately redacted from mention in this.
I got an important question because you didn't give us these before, and it's fine. Since we're talking about games at the end of the year, spoilers are allowed, right? Like, we should be able to just...
Oh, yeah, no, like, if you don't want spoilers, stick a thumb in your ear and another one in your butt and scoot the boot for 2 minutes.
I mean, yeah, to be clear, I'll give the name of the game before I talk about it, but, like, talking about moments, talking about visuals, stuff like that, like, we got to dive in deep.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Yeah, so beware for spoilers for the following games. Screen rolls. Jared.
Okay, my favorite in-game moment, it has to be... I can't even say it's one specific moment. It's the whole experience is just fantastic, and that was Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I can't really pick out a singular moment because it's just so good. The whole story is just fantastic.
Facts. Oh
man, you know what? It had to be near the end where I can't remember probably what happens, but it made me completely tear up. And yeah, like Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of 2 games that have ever actually made me tear up, so to speak. So I won't say what happens, but it's just, yeah, that's still...
I know the part you're talking about, though.
Yeah, it's near the end and whatnot. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm emotionally just wrecked right now. What the hell? Put the controller down. I'm like, I gotta step away, come back. I'm like, this is a damn good story. Gotta finish it and whatnot. But yeah, that's my favorite game moment.
That's fair.
God, I need to play that now that it's technically fixed and I have a Series X and a monitor that's 140.
Oh man,
yeah, I got a weird feeling we're going to be talking about Ori even more as the categories go forward.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in the nominated category, right? Because that's where it goes, right? Is nominated.
Eric, what was your favorite gaming moment?
My favorite gaming moment of the year, because again, it's one of those things you didn't see coming, is when The Last of Us 2 went full-on horror game.
You stole the thing I was going to say, but you stole my moment. Dang it. But I agree. Please, go off.
Yeah, it was one of those things where when it's kind of done, you were like, I want more of that. And you're like, please do more of this. Do something else with this because you guys hit on something.
Yep.
That was just, it wasn't expected. Because, we hadn't seen that. We didn't even think that was the case. And I was like, whoever decided that this should be here, bravo.
Yep.
Because it was exciting, it was fun, and it changed the tone in that. I mean, it was legit creepy. Like I had that Dead Space tone or feel, you know, in some
Evil,
way.
I would say.
Yeah, you know, and yeah. So more of that. That was really good. That was mine.
Yeah, I could use a lot more of that. Not gonna lie, I could use a whole game that was just clickers and just that.
Yeah,
just
I could
that.
too. I could too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dang it. Yeah, I co-sign Eric. I co-sign Eric. Even with the issues I have with it, that moment is like the training wheels came off. The training wheels came off, and they're like, okay, enjoy, survive, figure it out, adios. That was magnificent. That it was perfectly telegraphed, but it still catches you by surprise because there has been nothing in the game or either game so far in The Last of Us Part 2 to that scale. And it's visually appalling, but wonderful because you can see the thought that was put into the design. You can see what they were doing with it. And then it even has the 2 stages, you know, where it separates. And so then you're thinking, oh no, I got to keep, you know, one eye and one ear to my back while I'm also engaging this giant thing. Magnificent. That was magnificent.
Yeah, I've never been more grateful of my ability to hoard shotgun ammo and never use my shotgun because I'm like, I might need this later. And I was like, oh, shit. I need all of it. That was, I feel that scene was so perfect because it felt like an intern walked up to Druckmann and went like, hey, I've got this idea, but it doesn't thematically really fit with what we do with this game. And he was like, let's do that. Let's try that. Let's see how that works. Because thematically, it doesn't work with anything that's been done in The Last of Us before. And I like it. It was risky. It was weird. It could have been terrible, but it was done so well. Just sell Naughty Dog the Dead Space IP and let's go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
I like it.
I should have put my favorite industry moment as the 007 game by IO. God damn it. I think of that now.
I'm going to put that. I want that one.
I would change
it. You got to be fast. You got to be fast.
When you really think about it, there were some things when you, you know.
What it is, this has been a great year for announcements. It's been a while. It's just that it's a hell year, so everything blurs together.
It's like just one. It's a Rat King.
So, see, my moment is a funny moment, and I can share it without spoilers. It's a minor subplot of Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Okay.
But so when I was asked to do the Yakuza Like a Dragon review, I was in a really, really bad place mentally. I was like, I can't review a game right now. So about 4 hours into this game, you're approached by this man. He's crying because he just got robbed. A man stole his baby formula. And you're like, oh my God, who would steal baby formula from someone? You're a piece of shit if you do that, right? So he's like, yeah, I saw them run up these stairs. So you're like, all right, fuck this guy. I'm going to beat the tar out of him. You get up there and there's 5 grown men in diapers. With a woman who's dressed in typical 1950s housewife fashion, bottle feeding some of them. And they're like, we need our formula. And your character's just sitting there like, what the fuck? And what ends up happening is you have to fight them over this baby formula. So you eventually beat them, and then you can summon them to help you in future battles in which they will lower the enemy's defense and cause mass damage because they'll come in and throw temper tantrums on the floor asking for a bottle. Go play Yakuza. Go play Yakuza Like a Dragon. It fixed my depression. I am telling you, Yakuza. I can't talk about Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's for further on in the show. But regardless, that was one of my favorite moments because it was a moment that just absolutely blindsided me because Yakuza is one of those games where it can be really serious in your subplots. You're like, oh, so-and-so died. And you're like, oh, okay. And then there's other times where they'll just sneak up on you and be like, hey, there's 5 grown Yakuzas in diapers. You got to fight them. And you're like, no? So that's one of my favorite moments in game. All right, best score. Doom Eternal. Category's over. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I told you, I am not nuanced. These guys are nuanced. Jared, what was your favorite musical score of this year so far?
I got to give it to Ori again. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, hands down.
Particular.
I got not much more to say. Like it's just it's
categories
good, man.
Speaks for itself. It speaks for itself, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I can't even say anything because I've only played the Blind Forest, and that soundtrack literally made me cry in the first 10 minutes. So I don't have it.
Gareth Coker really worked his magic with Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's wonderful. Absolutely magical soundtrack, and it really evokes a lot of emotion because with a game that has no dialogue, with no speech in it at all, you need to use music to evoke the emotion in order to properly portray, to get the player attached to the game. So it's a very integral key part for that game, where if you don't get it right, it's not going to be as successful as if you did a really good musical score for it. So with what Gareth Coker did, incredible.
Yeah. No doubt there. Eric.
This is going to be whack and boring. I'm co-signing Jared. I mean, and if I can give a runner-up, I would give it to The Last of Us 2 because there's some of those some moments in there, and just for the fact that Ellie sings one of my favorite like 80 songs, in her rendition of it, and it's a travesty that's not actually in the soundtrack.
What?
No. Well, the soundtrack that I got with the game, it wasn't in there. But I'm sure you can find it, but I haven't done that yet. But Ori, it's just I can't. I don't have to say anything else about Ori.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to put a finger on it. Like it's just one of those things where you just have to experience it.
Mm-hmm. The great thing about Ori, and the music it fits the setting, it fits what's going on, and that's the beautiful thing about Ori as a game in general. It's just there's no accidents in that game.
Yeah.
From a development standpoint, you can say what you want about the bugs that happened. I get why that kind of happened, but they're designed to the music, to everything. It's like watching someone put a Lego set together. It all fits. It makes sense. Nothing is left to chance. It's very thought out. So
or like
the music is a key part of setting the tone.
Like it's like a painter, a professional artist, and doing oil canvas or whatever, and like with those you can't make a mistake, and you end up seeing this beautiful portrait afterwards. You go, holy crap, that came out really well.
Yep.
Nice. Sam.
Wow, incredibly boring, but we're gonna go 3 for 3 here. 3 for 3. That soundtrack is Ori and the Will of the Wisp, hands down, not a contest. Like, magnificent, simply magnificent. The music, like, if you don't believe me, just pull it up on Spotify, just pull it up on YouTube, and listen to any point. Go to any random point in the soundtrack. It's like 2 hours long or whatever, and listen for 3 minutes. And with no dialogue, no spoken dialogue, that game will wreck you. And I think a large part of that is A, the art and the animation, but honestly, B, more importantly, the music. Gareth Coker's music tells a story. You can tell every single thing that's happening. It matches the beats. It matches the horrors and the tragedy of what's unfolding, but also the light and joy of everything in that game. Just, it's stellar. It's absolutely stellar. I will say, to give you a balm, Nick, my runner-up in soundtrack would be Doom Eternal. Because, hell yeah. Like, it is a good soundtrack as well. So that's my runner-up.
So here's the thing. I'm a cheat. Because the easy answer would be Doom Eternal for me. Because, rip and tear until it's done, and memes galore, and it's my sex playlist on Spotify.
Wow, okay.
Memes aside, it's really good. But I played a game, an older game, and the soundtrack, once again, same composer, but the soundtrack is even better than Doom Eternal. and that's Prey. And once again, I'm cheating because that's an older game. But environmentally, how Prey's soundtrack works and it undermines how the game works is it's subtle. You don't really realize it. You don't really feel it until the moments you do. It hits you like a ton of bricks and then it's gone again. And it's so environmentally pleasing. And I can't get it out of my head. It's just really good. But once again, that's, I believe, another Mick Gordon soundtrack. So I'm sorry. I'm nothing else if not predictable.
Hey.
Please release Wolfenstein 3 next year so I can keep the record going. And also, I also want to shout Andrew Halstead as well for doing the DLC work on Doom Eternal, because you know what? Stepping into Mick Gordon's shoes after everything that happened with him this year, not an easy job. He literally was doing, he did Dusk soundtrack and he did a couple of Quake songs, tribute songs, and now he's working with id on Doom soundtracks. So shout out to him. He's had a breakout year, and anything shining in 2020 is worth really, really worth noting. Best soundtrack ever in a video game is Max Payne 3. You are correct, sir. All right.
Soundtrack is really good, man. So that's a good pick. And I played that this year too. So
best visuals. All right. If y'all say Ori all the way across the board again, I'm slapping all of your mothers. All right, Jared, go first. Let me.
I can put on the soundtrack to Ori while we get slapped. Right, exactly.
Crap. Be honest, Be honest. Don't let him intimidate you.
It was. I had a really difficult time because even up until this point, right now, I'm having a difficult time choosing between these two. I am leaning towards Ori a little bit, but the other would be Last of Us 2. I'll just say that. But yeah, sorry, Ori. Not anybody.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, no snubs in this podcast.
I'm sorry.
I just want people to realize if I actually want to go slap at Jared right now, I'd have to get on a plane, fly to Alberta, quarantine for 14 days, slap him, get back on a plane, fly back to my province, quarantine for 14 days. It would take me a month to slap this man.
Would it be worth it?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the category
get beers afterwards, and it's great.
The category is best visuals, right?
Yeah, best visuals. Yeah.
And I mean, you can freeze frame any point of that game and frame it on a wall.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, it's so good.
But his runner up is, I mean, equal. I mean, equal.
Yeah. So I just gotta say, it's like if you guys all pick Ori, it's fine. We're just not doing ourselves any favors of being the Xbox podcast at this point.
but low key, I mean, it just hit. But I'm looking at it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking at Hive Busters, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I need to play that.
We didn't have a window to talk about it on this yet because of the timing and all that. But it's good, man. It's darn good. That's
what I'm hearing. But I'm looking at the visuals on. I'm like, man, there's some really good looking games this year. Jared, were you done? I didn't want to cut you off or anything.
I'm good.
Okay. Nick.
All right, going to Florida. Just what I wanted to do this time of year.
Make a round trip.
Yeah. At least I'll be coming back with something by the end of this trip.
I'll say best visuals. I have best visual, but I also have two runner-ups to my Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisp pick.
I feel kind of bad. It's like, all right, we'll put something else in there too.
But Ori and the Will-O-the-Wisp for my number one, but my two runner-ups are Ghost of Tsushima and Hades.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hades is another one that you could literally, Supergiant, they deliver, man. And they're another one that you could freeze frame shots from their games, frame it on a wall, and it would be amazing. It just stands as like high art, so yeah. But yeah, I have to go Ori again, man. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
No, this is I tease you guys about it, but I have no rebuttal because I can't argue it. I haven't even played the game. I've literally just looked at screenshots and been like, if I superimpose that on canvas, will anyone realize it's a video game screenshot?
Right. Yeah.
And like when you do that, if you want to, I'm not an art guy, but if you want to make an argument, if you could stretch a screenshot on a piece of canvas and hang it up in a gallery and it works, and you could probably get some dude going, yes, I'll pay $5 million for it, then obviously you've done something brilliant.
Yeah.
And if to make all of you guys agree on something, that is special in itself. Sam, best visuals, are we going 3 for 3 or?
So here's the thing. I'm separated by a razor here, similar to Jared. I've got two that I'm juggling back and forth. Like it's darn close. It's so darn close, it's not even funny. However, because I know how I'm voting on another category we're about to do, well, in a couple of categories, I'm going to go different because of that. And for best visuals, I would say Demon Souls. The remake of Demon Souls is drop dead gorgeous. And it does so running at 60 FPS. I mean, there are some crazy moments when you're casting spells and you see the blue and red crackle of energy going down the hallway, and the char marks as fireballs impact armor, and the dank swamp with mold growing everywhere, and the castles and your reflection in the puddles. Despite it's SSR, there's no ray tracing, but still, it looks gorgeous. Or even like you zoom in on the camera up close on a sword, and you see the fine filigree work. Just the detail that was put in, even though Bluepoint didn't have to. In terms of overall graphical quality, it is a showpiece, and they absolutely delivered.
That's another one. That's another one that I look at. I'm like, I can't wait to play it. And yeah, you're right, man.
I wish I had a PS5 so I could play it.
I know. I hear you, man. I hear you. I'll be there when all three of you get here. When all three of you get here, yes, Nick, we've been over this. I'm not engaging in this discussion again. We've done this.
We'll get you. We'll get you.
I will be there waiting for you all. And yeah, but again, like Ori is just it's not even a hair behind. It's so close. Ori is definitely my runner-up.
Yeah, that's fair, man. So to add nuance to this conversation. I'm going to go a little bit different because I want to be a little outside the box to these guys, obviously. But I recently got a new monitor, which has HDR and all the fun little titty bits. I probably shouldn't have used the word titty bits, but we'll move on.
That was strange. That was strange. Being honest.
I get if you're talking about Cyberpunk.
There's...
Just saying.
Boy. So a runner-up for visuals. It's not a game a lot of people talk about visuals, but it's because it's a game I played in its original form. So I have an appreciation for how far it came. Resident Evil 3 was really, really good. And like I feel like that game just kind of faded into the background, unlike Resident Evil 2 remake, where we talked about that for like 8 months. Whereas Resident Evil 3 remake just came and it was gone. But just booting that back up because I wanted to finish it, that game looks really, really good.
The game's awesome.
And the performance is really, really good. And, stars. No, I don't like any of it. I also rebooted Resident Evil 2 remake, and both those games they're on their own category because you look at what the games originally looked like to where they were now, and you're just like, how did we get here?
Oh, man, the RE engine was the best thing they ever did.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Big time.
And freaking tastic. I feel like this category, we might be talking about Resident Evil 8 next year when we do this category.
Absolutely.
But my winner has to be, and this is so weird because, I'm an Xbox guy, but The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us Part 2, man. And the reason I put The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the things that's always kind of thrown me off with games' emotional storytelling is facial animations. Sometimes the facial animations just take me right out of it because I'm like, oh, what's your face doing? You're like, oh, I'm sad, but like this cheek's up here, and I'm like, yeah, okay. But never has complex emotions been so visually detailed. And like I physically felt when I booted it up on my new monitor, even though I don't have a Pro, just with the HDR that's in the PlayStation 4, like I felt like I could poke Ellie. I was like, you look so real. And that's a real testament to what that team did. I just have a really appreciation for the level of detail and what that game looked like and how the worlds felt and how they looked visually and everything else. And I didn't play Ori, so that's the only reason why it's not on. It's not on my list because I can't bring myself to be like, I didn't even play it, but it is the prettiest game out there. In terms of art direction, that game, bar none, is... I can't fight anybody, and it would take me like 60 days of flying and quarantining to slap every one of these guys. So, need you guys to save me some time, and I'll meet in one location. But so we move on to our third last category, which is best performance. Now, and what I mean by best performance is obviously the person that is playing the character. So we're going by voice actors here. If you guys don't remember or didn't have time to look up the voice actor who voices the character and you only know the character, we can go with the character. Everyone will understand. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
No Ori in this category, Nick.
Nope. There you go.
The only one where we can't nominate it.
Stairs and motherfuckedly. Jared.
Well, I think this is going to be a pretty obvious one, but it's Laura Bailey. Like, bar none, not a single game this year has come out that can match the cinematic acting performance that these actors put into The Last of Us 2. Hands down. Like, there's not very few games in general in the history of video games can actually even match that. So that's why I definitely got to give the performance to her, or at least basically any of the main characters in that game.
Yeah, she made me fall in love with a really muscular girl. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, no, she did a hell of a job playing a villain too, or a villain, or I don't even know how you voice that. Depends on your opinions of things. But it was cool seeing her step outside of the goody two-shoe protagonist roles that often we see her in. And I don't know, it was dope. Eric.
I'm gonna be the counterpoint to Jared, and I'm gonna pick Ashley Johnson. For Ellie.
Good.
Because I mean, there was some, like my boy Defoy just said in the chat, just her scenes were heavy, man, and just like her reaction to seeing what happened with Joel and everything else, like there are some performances in there that are just like crazy, just like insane. So so she would be my pick, for that, because I think they just play well off of each other as well. And then like some of her scenes, like with Dina and everything like that, were just like really like powerful. And so yep.
Nice. Sam.
But I love Abby too, don't get me wrong.
So Jared and Eric aren't wrong. Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson did phenomenal job. I stand by everything Jared said about the production value of the performances all these actors and actresses put into this game. Magnificent work. Mine is similarly from that game, but I'm going to spin out for a third character, and that is Troy Baker as Joel. And I think that whatever your opinion of how things end up, whatever your opinion of how it goes, his performance is one of the most tear-inducing, and just it gets you. Just the raw impact. Just a handful of scenes. Not as many scenes as the first game. Not by half, but they get you. And they claw you down. And the dynamic he has and the gravelly, weary voice that Baker was able to perform. And that last conversation, that they have about, and they're reconciling over some issues, some big issues that have divided them. And when he says, if the good Lord gave me a second chance, I would do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I knew then that he, like, okay, this performance is it for me for the year. Like, this is just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even get me started on how they opened the game with him playing Future Days. Don't even get me started on that. So yeah, Troy Baker is Joel.
Man,
Yep.
that's a really good pick. My choice is the golf club from The Last of Us Part 2.
Dude.
Savage.
I can literally just watch the light drain out of Sam's eyes. I just found the clippable part of the podcast right there.
Oh my Lord.
No. So this really speaks volumes of the fact that, The Last of Us Part 2, you won't see it appear on my Game of the Year list. It's not in my 3 games that I'm presenting for Game of the Year this year. But I really want to give credit to someone who I don't think gets a lot of credit from that casting, because she played a more minor role, but it played a really emotional anchor point role. And that was Shannon Woodward for Dina, because it was so amazing to have her brought in as like the romantic interest, which could have felt completely shoehorned in and unnatural and unnecessary. And I sound like these channels that have 87 videos that hate The Last of Us Part 2. But the thing is that her performance is so authentic, and her reactions and how her and Ellie interact feels so natural. It doesn't feel like this is someone that was just dropped in the game. This feels like someone who has been part of this franchise for a very, very long time. And the thing with Dina and why a lot of people don't talk about her performance is it's a lot of side stuff. It's stuff you can miss. The brilliance of Dina's character comes out in scenes that are missable, and that sucks. But if you scoured that game where, it was open world for like 2 hours and then it went back to being a linear game, weirdest thing ever in design choice. There's some really cool moments in there that made me fall in love with her as a character and made me think about her constantly while playing through the game. Fuck Owen. He's a piece of shit. But yeah, no, it says a lot for a game when all of us picked a different character from the same game. That really speaks volumes about the quality of the performance that was delivered in that game. Now, I might as well just call this the best Ori direction. So we're going for best art direction.
Before you said that, I just want to take 10 seconds to say all 4 of our picks coming from The Last of Us Part 2 backs up what Jared said. Again, about the performances in that game, that we were able to each pick a different character that resonated with us, but all 4 still came from the same game. That's pretty darn telling, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, I just read the chat. I'm gonna need a mulligan. Okay. All right.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good. Best art direction in a game. Jared.
Bracing yourself, Nick?
I'm like full bore, like both feet are on the side of my desk, I'm gripping the sides. Jared, best art direction in a game for you this year.
NHL 84. I don't know. That's just we're going to Ori and the Will of the Wisps, of course. Yeah. Sorry.
You don't even have to describe it at this point.
This is it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. Eric.
He's like, well.
Did Jared name his runner-ups? Because you wanted runner-ups as well, right?
That was just for Game of the Year. Yeah, but
if
you guys have runner-ups that vary from Ori and the Will of the Wisps, then by all means.
Okay. Actually, my best art direction is actually Ghost of Tsushima.
That would be my second pick. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then my runner-up in this case is Ori, and literally they could intertwine and flip back and forth, and go hand in hand either way. But those were again, two just visually stunning games, but just some of the vistas and some of the things that were going on. And when you're doing like duels and the way that they kind of played with, the lighting and the effects and things like that, again, things you can frame, put on the wall. That's how I kind of like categorize these things. Yep.
Absolutely. Sam.
Yeah, no, it's back to Ori for me. Especially because I thought Demon Souls was my best visuals. Ori just do I need to say anything else? Do I need to justify it? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Beyond that, for art direction, I would actually like to give a shout out to Tell Me Why. And I know this is sort of a underdog choice in art direction, but it is a warm winter setting where it's Alaska and it's winter, so it's obviously very cold, and it conveys the snow and the ice well, but everything has that early morning pinkish hue to the time of the year it is, and it has a very comfortable village vibe. And I found myself taking way more screenshots than I thought I would for that kind of game, so I just want to put them in the running as well.
Can attest, have seen skies like that before, considering I live in just a little bit south of that kind of area, and it's beautiful, absolutely. Sometimes, because where I live in Calgary, where it's a city right beside the mountain range, and a lot of times we'll have a cloud shelf will come off from the mountains, but then when the sun rises, it'll bounce right off the shelf, and you'll see a blue sky, but then it'll be like this pink, orange, purple kind of cloud shelf that's coming through usually in the morning, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. So I've got two. One comes with a caveat story. One is Watch Dogs Legion. Now, the reason I pick Watch Dogs Legion, everyone's thinking, what the fuck? Watch Dogs Legion.
It's beautiful.
So my mom got back into gaming, and everyone knows I have filthy Irish heritage and British heritage. My mom spent a lot of time over in the UK with my grandfather early on in her life, and getting to watch my mom go, oh, I've seen that before. Oh, that's that. Or, oh, this is that. And all these different moments for her of reliving places she's been through that game, and like watching her glow up, just playing the game and being like, oh, I've been here before. Or, oh, this is different. Is this like this? And then she'll go Google Map and like look at it in like the 360 view, and she's like, I can't believe they do this much detail in a game. Last game my mom played prior to this was Mario Kart Double Dash. So we've come a long way in terms of gaming since she's been in that sphere. But watching her enjoy that just really made me appreciate the attention to detail and design that really went into delivering an authentic UK London experience, especially with all the twats and wankers that are yelled at you when you run the but my personal pick this year is Iron Harvest. A lot of people aren't going to know what this game is. Those that do will understand why it's my pick. It's a World War I like alternative universe where after World War I, everyone's like, fuck it, we're making diesel mechs. And it's such a beautiful game. The design of the mechs, it's like if you take every mech out of the game and look at it, each design fundamentally works as a machine. And like the amount of detail that goes into that for an RTS game where you're going to be looking above and just looking down at units, the amount of detail that was put into them, I just got so much appreciation for. So, shout out to King Art Games for the art direction of that game and their, in quotations, diesel punk affluence with that, because at least something with the word punk in it this year didn't disappoint me.
That's a good point.
So,
fair.
Game of the year. Game of the year, baby. What we're gonna do? We're gonna go around. We're gonna go around. We're gonna do our second runner-up, and then we're gonna go around and say Ori of the Will of the Wisps. And
Amazing.
That's
Okay,
good.
kick us off, Jared.
Okay. So we're starting with our very first one or the last one, like our
So 3, 2, and then 1.
3, 2, and then 1. Okay. Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, number 3 is gonna be Immortals: Phoenix Rising.
Okay.
All right.
That is on my January list, to be clear. I keep hearing I've not heard bad things apart from the generalized Ubisoft save problem. I have not heard bad things about Immortals. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, so that's
definitely
cool.
Looking forward to the DLC.
Cool.
Awesome. Eric.
My third is Ghost of Tsushima. Yep.
Good game.
Yep.
Great game. Great game.
I want to get in there and do that. Get those outfits.
Oh yeah, same. I got it installed, man. If you want to hit some co-op up at some point, let me know. I got it.
I really got to play that badly.
Yeah. Sam.
Yeah, so my third place, I went back and forth on this, actually. I just want to say, like, it's the same 2 games, but which one was third and which one was second, I went back and forth so many times. I was flip-flopping even while we were doing the show. But at the end of the day, because one of these games deleted 10 hours of progress, and I'd have the platinum if it hadn't, it's getting the third place at the end of the day. That's what pushed it over the edge for me. Magnificent game still, and that's the Demon's Souls remake. Phenomenal. What a magnificent game. I've played it through to completion 3 times already. I'm missing 2 trophies for the platinum. I would have them if it weren't for the 10 hours. It is what it is, but I'm working on getting that knocked out over the next day, maybe 2, and I'll have the platinum. Difficult game, great game. Love it.
Nice.
Very cool.
I like it. So, this is going to be weird for me. My number 3 pick is Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is my number 3 pick. An absolutely fantastic FPS game. I cannot explain why you need to go play this game, so just go play this game. It cured my addiction to porn. I don't need porn anymore. I just go and play 20 minutes of Doom Eternal, and I'm good. So we'll go back down around the circle for our number 2 picks. Jared, what is your second pick or your runner-up to Game of the Year?
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Woohoo! But of course, I'm not going to expand on it but hey, at least you didn't take the number 1 spot. I have another game that's going to be number 1 spot, but Ori gets number 2. Gets number 2.
Fantastic, man. Eric.
Yeah, my runner-up is Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Surprise, Nick?
I just want to take this moment to state that our podcast is not at all sponsored in any way by Moon Studios. And man, I'm really glad I did ask you guys to send me your responses. I would have been like, is this a copy paste mistake? Or
is it a podcast or is it just us all 3 taking mallets with Ori written on them, hitting Nick in the head?
Yeah, right.
Like, I literally feel like a criminal for not playing this game, apparently.
Good.
Like,
good. It's working as intended.
Yes.
Right.
All right, Sam, what's your second pick?
My second pick, again, this was a hair in between it and Demon's Souls, but the whole 10-hour progress loss thing rubbed me the wrong way. It's Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is a fantastic game, magnificent, great story DLC. I know some people didn't like the changes. I respect that. For me, they clicked. The changes clicked with me, full stop. I love the cycle of violence and the cycle of combat and how you manage your armor and your health, and you got to keep moving, you got to keep the speed. It's rhythm and momentum, baby. It's rhythm and momentum, and I absolutely love it. Great game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you don't like the changes, you're fucking wrong. Unless you're Doc, because you can talk a circle around me about why it's bad, but everyone else, you're wrong. Yeah, so my number 2 pick is is Iron Harvest, actually, because this made me fall back in love with strategy games again, and I kind of fell out of love with it, and then it started again when Sam was like, "Hey, Age of Mythology is on sale for $2.99 on Steam," and I was like, "Yoink!" And I played that a couple of times, and I was like, man, I really wish I had something that was more modern, because it feels like all the really great RTS games that run on a potato PC. I'm sorry, I'm looking at you, Total War. They're all older games. But I really appreciate Iron Harvest because it did a bunch of these stuff really well. A lot of RTS games either feel like they're single player focused with a really good campaign and the multiplayer's tacked on, or it's vice versa, where you're doing the campaign because it's a tutorial to teach you how to be better at the multiplayer. But the beauty with Iron Harvest is they packed a really fundamentally good campaign with interesting characters into it. And just, it was really, really fun front to back. And then the multiplayer experience was really, really tight and really fundamentally great in how it reacts. It was very different than a lot of our other RTS games, and they've continued to support it post-launch with new stuff, and it's just really, really great. I cannot recommend it enough. It was also, I believe, my highest reviewed game this year. So it seemed only right that it takes Doom Eternal's spot. Now, if I considered the Doom's DLC with it, Doom would have been second. Worth noting, but I can't talk about why the Doom DLC so often because spoilers. So game of the year time, baby. Game of the year. Best game ever. You guys already said Ori, so this is where it gets interesting. Jared.
All right. So for me, the top standout title this year is Ghost of Tsushima. Love that game. I haven't recommended, of course, in any other categories, but to me, it is one of the games that came out that had basically, it was a really big title, had a good story, had good gameplay loop, good gameplay mechanics. It didn't really have any issues at all. It's been supported really well post-launch. It has a great DLC that has co-op multiplayer on it, has raids and gear loots and special classes and stuff like that. It's completely different from basically the single player. I haven't played that yet. I need to play the multiplayer aspect. I really need to, but there's a lot of things that the game didn't overly excel in one area, but as a whole, it came away as one of the best experiences I played this year.
Awesome, man. Y'all make me feel like a goddamn criminal for not liking that game. Eric.
My game of the year is The Last of Us 2. And mainly for the reasons of the emotional roller coaster that game kind of took me on, because it's in no way, it's not perfect, but outside of the game itself, I just love the fact that outside of the hate circles and everything else, it really did push people to have discussion about the things that whether they really liked it or whether they didn't like it. And that's, to me, in my opinion, what art should do. Art should make people feel uncomfortable or feel comfortable or however they want to feel. That's kind of what the purpose of it should be, and spark discussion, and emotion. And I think that game, to me, did a lot of those different things. Like, there are definitely parts where I kind of felt maybe it did drag on, but then there were some parts I felt I wanted to see more of. The character interactions, the characters introduced, I really liked all of that. But yeah, it just, it kind of woke me up in a lot of ways. Sometimes I think in gaming, we can kind of get on autopilot with some things. Like, we play things just because we're gamers, and you play it and then you kind of walk away from it and you don't really think about it that much anymore. But certain games, good or bad, will evoke emotion, and you'll always kind of go back to it and think about it and remember it and kind of say, I had great discussions around it with my friends. I just enjoyed these parts of it. Or, it'll just be like a nostalgia trip. And I think the best games kind of do that. So for me, that is one of those games.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Sam.
Yeah. First, I just want to say that was well put, both Jared and Eric. Like, it's always interesting how games hit in different ways for people.
Yeah.
And not even maybe excelling at one particular thing and doing it better than all the rest. but just in general and how they prompt discussion or just do a lot of things pretty well. Like you said, Jared, I always find that fascinating. So I like that. For me, it's Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
My man, let's go.
Look, what do you want me to say? I know I've said it a lot already. We've brought it up a lot, but there's a reason. There's a reason it's one of the names that keeps coming up. It's a transcendent experience, and it's one that I'm totally okay not getting a sequel to. I don't think it needs one, personally. Yeah. I think it's perfectly fine standing on its own. And in the hell year that has been 2020, it's one of the only. There's been lighthearted games, there's been fun games, there's been cool games, there's been all this different stuff. But Ori is quite literally light in purity and just whole. Mm-hmm. And it means because of that, because maybe it's just because it hit in this year, but it means more to me as a result of that than any other game personally. So.
Yeah, that's funny that you're saying that because I just get goosebumps thinking about Ori and the Wisp now because when you really think about it, the way the game comes across is it's almost a feel-good Pixar movie without any, of course, any vocals in it sort of thing. It's just one of those things where from start to finish, it comes across as one of those fantastic feel-good experiences.
But it devastates you emotionally.
Yes.
Still.
Yeah. Yes. Feel good, but also not feel good at the same time.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Jared.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, my game of the year. It is not Battletoads. No, my game of the year and what trumped, Iron Harvest and Doom Eternal for me this year was Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Ooh,
because
there we go.
For the simple reason, I love JRPGs now, and I want to play more of them. And this is after people have been like, play Final Fantasy. And I'm like, no, I have good taste. I don't play bad games.
Thank you. Speak it up, man.
I also like the fact that we completely snubbed Final Fantasy VII Remake on this podcast. But regardless, Yakuza Like a Dragon, it was a transcendent experience. It was a franchise that I was kind of interested in because I'd played a couple of the games. I was like, yeah, they're good, but like they just never hit that way because they felt older. Like they just felt old and like dated in their delivery. And this one it hit like a ton of bricks. The game's funny. It's sad. It hits you with emotional moments. There's one particular sound they use when a character's having a moment of like emotional opening. It's like a heart, like light jingle. And when it hits, my heart just, and I hate it. I hate it because it's programmed into my head. And if I get set up as a text ringtone, when anyone I don't like texts me just to keep in my mind, I'm like, oh, emotions. But it's so well done front to back. Like I put like 85 hours into this game and you can beat it in 50. Like front to back, it's got such a variety. There's a mini game where you start as a confection shop and to convert that via the like stock exchange to become a multi-billion yen corporation. That's a mini game. There's a full-fledged Dragon Kart racing, which is Mario Kart, but with like missiles and machine guns. And the game, this side like campaign literally has more tracks than Mario Kart 8. It's a side thing that you can completely ignore if you want to. The characters are memorable. It's funny front to back. It's JRPG elements. It's a step away from the beat 'em up style of the previous games, but it's a great style change. Aesthetically, it's hilarious. And it's so good. And the fact that the amount of people that when I wouldn't shop about this game went and bought it or played it or anything else is really cool that I'm starting to develop this hive mind of if I like bullshit about a game long enough, people will play it. And I'm so using that energy to make everyone play Hitman 3 next year. And you don't even know the peer pressure I'm going to put on people for that. But yeah, so pretty great game of the year stuff. Great discussion. Now we've got questions. I love
Well,
questions.
While you organize the questions, I just wanted to say, given what this year has been, it was really nice to just talk about games we like. And
Yeah.
hit Nick over the head with a mallet, yes, but talking about games we like, it makes you realize, one category that I think every developer is a winner is like, if you put out a game January even through early December, like if you put out a game and all this, like I tip my hat to you, because it hasn't been an easy year with how much stuff has been pushed back, with how rough things have been, and I salute you for doing that.
Absolutely. Now, this is funny because someone actually added a category in the questions. What is your most anticipated game for 2021? And guess what? You guys can't answer Ori, so suck it. Okay, that little bit on the end was me, not the person who asked.
Oh, I can tell. I can
Okay. So I'll go first because it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hitman 3, baby, January. IO Interactive, IO God's Return. We're going to see Agent 47 scrangle people. We're going to see him chuck people off ledges. We're going to see people have accidents on Jeffrey Epstein levels of accidents. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. My wife just... Okay, never mind. My wife just freeze framed and looked at me. Okay, maybe not the best reference to use. But regardless, this game's going to be fantastic. And I hope because them announcing that they're doing a 007 game, people are going to pay attention to Hitman 3. Because while everyone sits there and goes, well, CG Project Red is super pro-consumer, and we're talking about all these pro-consumer conversations when IO Interactive has literally been doing everything from a fan service level to how you get your content. Like, if you own Hitman 2, bring the levels into Hitman 3. You own the original, like, Hitman 1? Don't worry, your levels come to Hitman 3. Everything comes with you. The DLC comes with you. There's a goddamn DLC mission in Hitman 2 where you got to kill Gary fucking Busey, okay? What other game lets you kill Gary Busey?
Right.
You even got to kill Sean Bean. Like, and everyone gets to kill Sean Bean.
Oh, right. I remember that.
So, that being said, gave you guys some time to think. Jared.
Atomic Heart. Hands down, Atomic Heart is my most anticipated game that it was supposed to come out Q3 this year, but they haven't said anything since then. But Atomic Heart, I'm really, really looking forward to, and it's got to be coming out next year. I really hope, but yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, like that could be our next BioShock, and like they got Mick Gordon doing the soundtrack, so like
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
very different and wacky. That's what I like about it. It's not your usual type of visual aesthetic or environment that you play in. So
it's weird and zany. Eric.
For me, Resident Evil Village.
He steals me again. Why?
I'm sorry, bro.
That's my next pick because it looks so good.
We're on the same wavelength. Tonight. Sorry, continue. Continue if you wanted to say anything else.
No, I'm going to say that's mine, but I want you to expand on why, because I guarantee our points line up. So you can.
Okay, all right. So here's what it is. For me, Capcom has been on a hot streak since 2017. They think like there was a while now they weren't looking good. It was looking rough as someone who enjoyed Capcom franchises, someone who, even as a little kid when I didn't have a console myself, I was playing Street Fighter at the arcade at the dentist, whenever I could. So I enjoy so many classic Capcom franchises. I can't talk now. And it was really rough, but they're doing well. And Resident Evil in particular has just bounced back like crazy. 7 was a magnificent game. First 2/3, 3/4 of that game are literally perfect. Like you could not improve them at all. It's just Resident Evil 2 remake, magnificent, excellent game. Resident Evil 3 remake. Some people didn't like it. I do. I love that game. I think they're 3 for 3 so far. So when they say, "Hey, we're going back to first person," And it's no more zombies. We're doing werewolves and witches and Krampus-like goat men, and it's the snow, and you're playing as Ethan, and Chris Redfield is evil now. I'm like, you know what? Sign me up. Let's get wild. Let's get nutcase in here. I trust you. I think it's going to be a blast. RE Engine makes games look incredible. Like, what else do you want me to say? Like that, I'm ready for a horror roller coaster.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So good. Oh, man.
Can't wait. We got another weird and zany question that didn't work its way into categories. People were giving me categories. It was great. Didn't even have to do half my job. So, guys, this has been a year of remasters and remakes, as so was the last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and so on. What franchise do you guys definitively need to see revealed in 2021? Doesn't have to come out in 2021, but gets announced in 2021. Okay, so
repeat the question, Nick. I'm sorry.
So basically, what game franchise do you need to see get a remake treatment in 2021? Announced. It doesn't have to launch.
Or I would argue, based on the wording of that question, that another sequel that hasn't been announced yet could also count.
Yeah,
based on the wording.
I'm gonna throw this game out because I watched Lord Mandalore's review on the game, and then I went and played the game. And it's absolutely brilliant on PC, but I really think a remake would do it a lot of justice, especially in the console space. Fear.
Yes.
Fear. Bring Fear back. Fuck the second and third one. Leave those behind. Remake the first one, and then make a new second one, and forget that second one ever happened. And the third one, it never happened. But yeah, bring Fear back. Give a good FPS studio Fear. I don't know. Call someone at id. Get someone to figure it out. Even, you know what? If Machine Games is bored after Wolfenstein 3, I don't know. Fuck me up and make Fear. But that's where I'm at. Because that game's fantastic. And if you have a potato PC like mine, go play it. It is phenomenal for the time it came out. The physics, the lighting, it's so incredible how well that game is aged, especially in terms of AI design and everything else. But a remake of it would be Resident Evil level. Jared.
So I got two I'm really divided on, but I like both of them a lot. The first one I'll talk about because I don't think you guys might even remember the second game I'll bring up. But the first one is, of course, Star Wars Jedi Knight Academy. That's what I really would like to see, a remake, a redone, because that's originally that's one of the best first-person Star Wars games I've ever played, and it came out such a long time ago, and it's not even really an RPG. It's just it's hard to put words to it, but yeah, phenomenal game. I'd love to see that come back in a modern era. And the next one would be Darkness. Not sure if you guys remember that, but it's this horror type of game where this character, you're possessed by a dark evil being, and you got two giant snake-like arms that come out and rip people's heads off and stuff like that and eat people. I would love to see that one. The second one was not very good. The first one was phenomenal, fantastic, and it did things in that game differently than what other games did at the time as well. So I would love to see that come back. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? That's some good picks. That's some good picks right there.
Eric.
I would love to see Enslaved come back in some way. Because I think there's more. I don't know whether in a remake or a sequel, but I just think that too much sleeping happened on that game. So yeah, if I was going to pick one, that would be it.
Right on. That's a good one. I never got the chance to, but I have a friend who literally will never shut up about this game. And
yeah, that's
Is that friend's name Eric?
Actually not Eric. When I say he's obsessed with it, I mean like he has posters. Like I didn't even know they made posters for this game, but he's got them. Yeah. Like he is all about it. Like has tracked down developers and harassed them and been like, "Hey, sign my stuff." I love this. It's got to be something good there. Is that Xbox backwards compatible?
It is. Yes, it is available.
I'm gonna put that on my list.
Yeah. Oh, and I have one more. If we're not going to get a new game in it, but I think something that would be fantastic for a tear down, ground up remake would be Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, absolutely.
From Software, because I hate myself.
Hey, you know what? They could do it. They could do
Should
it.
work out really well.
I really feel like Sekiro is like a spiritual Ninja Gaiden in my brain of how much I hate it. But no, Ninja Gaiden's a really good pick because I remember Ninja Gaiden's such a game. Everyone has a memory with that game. Mine was my friend buying the original Xbox and being like, "Hey, I got this new Xbox and it has a ninja game." And we were like, "Dope." Couldn't beat the tutorial. Weak ass baby hands on those Duke controllers, man.
It's a hard game though. That's
and playing it on the OG Duke controller too. When you're like, I think I might have been 8 or 9 or I don't know how old I was. I was preteen anyways. So baby hands. Sam, what is your pick?
Yeah, I've mentioned this kind of thing before, but I'll say it again. Bring back Resistance. Come on.
There you go.
A next-gen Resistance with that kind of, the alien chimera tech, but also World War I/World War II era weaponry, that weird juxtaposition of technology and the kinds of monsters, like creatures they could render on the PS5 now. Come on. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah. Yeah, give me a new Resistance.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in an honorable mention for Dead Space because all of us can co-sign that.
Yep.
I would have said Dead Space, but we're getting the Callisto Protocol, so I'm happy. That's the thing.
Man, I can't wait to drop into that game.
Not how it works. I deflected. I deflected.
Wait. You mean I don't get to beat my friend with a crowbar?
Nope. Sorry, buddy.
Well,
But
I mean, there might
friend,
it won't be your friend. There might be a crowbar, but it won't be your friend.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's fine.
Oh.
All right. So, final question. Oh God, I lost it. Shit. I knew there was one. Hold on. Let me pull up my Twitter. It's in here. Okay. There we go. I got it. All right. So I will preface this. The person distinctly orientated this. Hi guys. Everyone's been super disappointed with Cyberpunk 2077, obviously. That game aside, what was your most disappointing gaming moment of this year? Well, I'd say Godfall, but nobody played it.
No. Based on that wording, it has to be something. It has to be either something you played or were legitimately looking forward to. I would say.
Man, I was the biggest fan of Godfall, though.
I got something already.
Okay, Jared, you go. The rest of us.
Where is it? Where the hell is it? Anthem 2.0. Come on, where the hell is it?
Mm-hmm.
It's right in the safe, right beside Metroid Prime trilogy and the Nintendo Switch Pro, and
I don't like you right now.
that's what you get for tweeting out a link to the Gaming Perspective Ori and the Will of Wisps Award 2020.
Well, fine. Actually, how would it?
You know what, Jared? That's fair. That's fair. Where is Anthem 2.0? They talked about it earlier this year. They shared some stuff, and then it disappeared.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like Jonathan Frakes is going to come in and start telling me it's false. It's fiction. It never happened.
They're lucky that they're doing it down in Austin, Texas now, and not up in Edmonton, because I drive up there and I'm like, where the hell is it? Find this damn thing.
Well, you see what happened is, you know how BioWare was teasing they hired some, more talent? They hired the greatest developer of delivering on all time, and that's Peter Molyneux.
Don't even joke about that, man. Don't even joke about that.
I really wish I could somehow wish that into the ether that somehow Pierre Molyneux gets hired at BioWare just for the memes. They're memes that not a lot of people in the gaming community might get, but they're good. They're so good. I'm having a hard time drawing this because there were so many great experiences this year.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyberpunk feels like the glaring rule more than anything right now.
Yeah,
but that's because that's also
every other bad feeling.
yeah,
exactly, Eric.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Anthem, like maybe I'll give it a second chance. Like it's lowering my standards.
Eric, do you have one?
Biggest disappointment?
Yeah, outside of Cyberpunk. Yeah,
and I'm gonna say this, and it's not like biggest disappointment. It was just like some more of like a letdown, and that was just the reveal of Halo Infinite. For it being gone for so long, and for the roll up to saying this is going to be the first time it's going to be hand in hand, with an Xbox console for the first time since the OG, and you can see how much they were putting on it, and then for what we got, for what they showed, it was like, huh?
Yeah,
it was very much that. And that's why I say it's not my biggest disappointment as far as, it was, I had words for it, and it was a bummer, but knowing that they're rolling it back and they're going to work on it, and we'll see what it turns out to be. But yeah, but that, I was kind of like, come on, man, like this is Halo. You can't do this. And that was my feeling around it,
That's fair.
Absolutely. That's a good one. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
okay, I've got one. And kind of like Eric's, this isn't a game I played so much as more of an industry thing. It's in line with what Eric said. But that was Sony pulling a whoopsie doopsie. Actually, Horizon is a PS4 game. Sorry, we misled you. I say Horizon specifically because Miles Morales and Sackboy I can forgive. They're launch games. I don't care. It's fine. But when your developers are saying that they were specifically held back 3 years ago from doing what they wanted to, and then you mislead people as to what kind of game something is going to be, I'm still looking forward to Forbidden West, but we have a problem. Like, just we legitimately have a problem in terms of the scale of the game and what they'll be able to accomplish. So that was the biggest, for me, outside of Cyberpunk letdown.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how many people are thinking about their, we're going to put that on Xbox One or PlayStation 4 right now. I wonder how many people are having that conversation right now, because it's an interesting conversation.
After the Cyberpunk ports, yeah, it makes you wonder.
Especially like like you said with like Sackboy and Miles Morales, it's like, yeah, I could believe that running on a PlayStation 4, no problem. Yeah, I believe that, like, no problem. Like, my friend bought Sackboy on PS4 and he had a blast with it. That's what you should be able to do if it's
and what you're saying there, Nick, it definitely. I wonder if there were like board meetings where they're like, we're really going to do this? Because this is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of. So, I wonder if people are kind of like, remember when we had that discussion about how difficult this is going to be and it may not be the best representation? Should we revisit that at this point?
Well, and I think it might have been easier to pull off in pre-pandemic world. I kind of have a faith to believe that, like, pre-pandemic, I could see studios being able to pull it off. And like, Guerrilla Games are technical wizards, like front to back. They're really amazing at what they do and their own engine. If there was a studio that could do it, Guerrilla Games could do it. But I just don't want to make sacrifices anymore after Cyberpunk in order to deliver on that console. But my biggest disappointment in 2020, and once again, this is going to be a branching industry thing, just the general misleading line that's kind of been developing, and this attack formation, so to speak, on everything. It used to be there was a general consensus, there's PR developers, there's media, there's the people buying and playing the game. And there was a relationship between PR to media and media to the fans. And there was this respect line, media respected the fans, developer respected the fans. And there's like a mutual respect line. People cross that line and are assholes all the time. It's fine. But this year was a year where we saw NDAs restricting and putting leashes on developers, or not developers, on reviewers, on what they were allowed to talk about, how they were allowed to talk about a game. And yes, I am briefly referring to Cyberpunk, but The Last of Us did this as well. You weren't allowed to talk about story aspects after like the first handful of hours in the game because of spoilers. And any criticism anyone has about that game is in the story aspect of the game further through the game. That doesn't mean the game's bad. It doesn't mean, it's just I don't like that. If I review a game front to back when embargo lifts, I need to be able to talk about all of it, no restrictions.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Nick, in terms of like it's not that it was bad in that case, it's just that we're setting a bad standard. Moving forward type.
And we can't sit there as an industry, and this is my closing rant basically for 2020. We can't sit there as an industry and say we want accessibility for everyone and everyone to play games. And then when someone points out that we have, people are getting seizures from a moment in a game and we have a large amount of people. And when I say a large amount of people, I wish I was using hyperbole, but I'm fucking not. A large amount of people send seizure content to that person to try to attack them, because they love this developer, they love this base, and they'll do anything to defend that. That's the worst part of 2020, has been the fact that it's not that the media lied, it's that people just don't want to believe the facts that are on the table now. If someone says something I don't like, it immediately means it's false. I get people lie online all the time. There's people that made stuff up about Cyberpunk. There's things where someone's like, well, this part of the story is really bad. And I'm like, that part didn't fucking happen. You didn't play the game. But when someone shows you a clip and goes, this is thematically bad to me, or we don't like this, or this is this, sit down, listen to it. It does no harm to listen to people. Even if you don't agree with people, there's tons of people I follow, and I sit there, I'm like, oh my God, you're talking out your ass right now. But I respect them at the end of the day because they're voicing how they feel. And that's the job of a reviewer. Because the moment a reviewer stops saying how they feel, it's no good for anybody involved. PR and the developers aren't getting honest feedback. The fans aren't getting honest opinions anymore. And that led to the Cyberpunk debacle. And it put media in a position where people are like, this game doesn't even run, but you gave it a 9 out of 10. They're not going to check the caveat that was on PC. They're just going to look at your outlet, giving it a 9 out of 10, and they can't even run it on their console. And that's the reviewer's fault. I just want more nuance. I know asking for nuance in 2020 heading into 2021 is impossible. But my closing message to close out this show for 2020, there will probably be more episodes, but fuck it. Fight me. The final closing message is, heading into 2021, don't be a fucking asshole. At the other end of a computer, another end of a machine, there's someone trying to write to maintain their well-being. They're doing something they care about. There's a lot of us that write in the industry, and we don't even make money. We do this because we love this. We do this because it's everything to us. We're not trying to mislead you. I don't get paid by CD Projekt Red by telling you that the game's awesome and I really enjoy it, even bugs aside. CD Projekt Red doesn't drop a Leprechaun pot of gold on my front door. That's only if you review Studios. Yeah, Moon Studios, for reasons. And State of Decay 2, you don't get Leprechaun gold for reviewing State of Decay 2, right, Sam? But there's a lot of people do amazing work, and there's so many people with 4 followers that are really quick to tell you how shit your work is. And I'm like, you work at fucking Walmart, bro. Don't talk to me about your passions, okay? That's just where I'm at. Be better. Be better to people. If you don't agree with someone, go, hey, interesting viewpoint, and move on. Or even don't even fucking engage with it. Just move on. Everyone can be happy.
There's a lot to enjoy right now.
Yeah. We just spent a whole show talking about how great this year in gaming's been. I could have went through and nitpicked all the bad shit that happened this year. I could have been like, oh, well, fucking Microsoft did this and PlayStation did this. But I'm not trying to harvest my freaking ad revenue to the point that I need to, harp up big issues that aren't really big issues. I don't need to slam Mark Cerny and Phil Spencer's face onto every fucking thumbnail in order to, feel good about the content I'm producing. So nuance. That's your word of the day. Nuance. So we're going to do some outros and some small channel related stuff on the out. So starting with, in the same order that we did this show, Jared, where can people find you and where can people find the great work you do?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PickedOffWriter, and you can find all my fun writing stuff over on Windows Central, Ender Central, and iMore.
Absolutely. And check out Jared's awesome guides. And I don't know how he does it because I am terrible with guides. So shout out to Jared for his awesome work. Sam, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. Similar to Jared, you can find me writing stuff over at Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore. And be good to each other. This has been a rough year in a lot of ways. 2021 is looking up, but it's still probably going to be rough in a lot of other ways. So be kind. Be nice. There's a lot to look forward to no matter what you're into.
Yeah. A little patience goes a long ways.
Absolutely. And check out Sam's awesome work. He has a lot of all you need to know guides. And man, the amount of times I've clicked on a guide or like what you need to know about a game on Windows Central, and I'm like, it's Sam. Or, oh, it's a Demon Souls thing. That's Sam. And it's great. Keep up the great stuff. Eric, where can people find you?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. I'm not there. You can also find me on Brat Podcast Wednesday nights at 9:00.
Absolutely. And I'm Nicholas Downey. You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. You can find all my work and reviews at lordsofgaming.net. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm doing over the Christmas break because, well, it's time off my 9-to-5 job, so that means I need to put work into the writing end. So busy. Channel stuff coming. So how this is going to progress, because, we go live on Saturday nights. On the 26th, the 26th? Yeah, 7 days from now, 26th. Yeah, so 26th is Boxing Day. There will be a show. Whether it's just me swearing at the camera for an hour and a half, or if these guys are free, awesome. That'll be between me and them to talk about. December 2nd, might be business as usual. Depends how hungover everyone is. I don't know about you guys, but
January
yeah,
2nd?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, January. Yeah.
We're skipping straight to the holiday season next year already.
Yeah. January 2nd, you'll be able to find us on normal. And there will be a schedule change coming up. We've got ironed some stuff out internally on that, but there'll be some stuff coming that way. There will be reviews coming to this channel coming the first week of January. Some little bit of op-ed, a little bit of essay stuff I've been working on, some stuff I'm really proud of. And a new series I'm looking forward to bringing in late January is something called GOG Roulette. And I'm really excited to bring that with you guys and share some really weird and wonderful gaming experiences you can find over at GOG. So I appreciate everyone's support of the channel over the year. We're obviously not done for live shows, but if you are busy with your family and playing games and, generally enjoying the holidays and not being a piece of shit, I wish you the best. And if you're being a piece of shit over the holidays, I hope you get run over by a beer truck. What? No one ever heard grandma got run over by a beer truck? Really?
Yeah, just send the damaged goods my way. It's not the person, just the beer.
I was like, oh boy, that got dark quick.
Not the person, just the beer.
So I appreciate all the subscribers. We gained 135 subscribers this year from 0 this year. Lots of people blazed past the fact. A lot of people can speak English. I can't. A lot of people blaze through numbers and everything else, but I appreciate every last one of you that supports us and has been here for us through 2020. And 2021 will bring more great content from these guys and more of my ultra great hot takes that all of you obviously love to come and see, because I'm the least favorite person on this podcast. We'll see you guys next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.